Tonight's discussion in Facing the Lion is always positive. And so I ask you today, as we are going to be facing our lions or challenges of the week, what did you face this week that was challenging to you?
Good morning and welcome to Friday. Finally Friday, as we call it around here. Good morning, good morning. I am Vibe Talk's host, Nisi, and I thank you for joining us this day. Thank you. And I have with me my co-host, Trish. Trish, good morning.
Good morning.
What are you not thankful for this morning? I'm not thankful this morning for lack of sleep. I'm not thankful for lack of sleep that I got. What about you, Trish?
This morning, I'm not thankful for not getting what I wanted to get done this morning. My song couldn't find the right flow, so I'm just all over the place.
Yeah. You are a songwriter. We do know that. A lot of music that you guys hear, our intros and our outros and our Facing the Lions intro is all about us. All about Trish and her making that music, so we know that she can do it. This week has been Opposites Week. What do you think, Trish, about that Opposites Week for things we are not thankful for? What do you think about that? How'd you feel about it?
I just think that I feel like it's harder for me to think about stuff I'm not thankful for than what I'm thankful for.
So it's harder? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's hard for me because it's that's not how I was raised. I was always raised to be grateful and to be thankful and cherish the things you have. So the question of what are you not thankful for, it's hard for me to answer sometimes.
Yeah. We did that this week, guys, because so many people have so much ungratefulness, unthankfulness in their lives. And so many of you will say what you don't have versus being thankful for what you do have. And the reason why I wanted to try that out is to help you to be more thankful for all the things you feel you don't have. For all the things. If you were to count how many things that you had versus how many things you do not have, you probably have more than you've actually even thought about. What that did too is create thinking. Because I'm like Trish. I think about what is to be thankful for. Why be thankful? What it takes to show gratitude or to have gratitude. And so we will do experiences in here, and we hope that you guys will have learned something from it. We are live, so if there are any technical difficulties, we will do our best to keep you connected. Trish, what is one way that they can be connected, or some ways that they can get connected to us? And can you please put it in the chat box while I put it over here? Please and thank you.
You guys can be connected with us on Facebook, Vibe-Talk. To directly go to it, just type in the link facebook.com/Vibe-Talk, and it'll be right there. And we also have a direct connect, which is 661-503-8993. And we also have a YouTube channel, which is Vibe-Talk, all caps.
Okay, can you put it in the chat? Please and thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We want you guys to keep connected to us. And we want you guys to feel comfortable enough. If we're not live, you can still be interactive to the questions or the comments. We want feedback from you, and we will read your comments. We will read your comments, we promise you. Thank you, Trish. And I'm writing the number over here live on Facebook. And Vibe Talk is becoming very popular by growth. We see that you're out there. Maybe you're not in this room. And there are ones of you that feel more comfortable. And that's fine. You feel more comfortable listening later. But you're listening. As of yesterday, there were 9 views. So we know what? Thank you so much. We know. Hey, good morning, good morning. There you are, Seth. How are you? Seth, can you write in where you're from, please, so that I can do a proper greeting? Seth is here with us. Thank you so much, Seth. Seth Wright. I like both of your names. Good day. How you doing? Love to have you with us. Thank you so much. Trish, Seth is on live with us. My co-host, Trish.
Good morning.
And,
Hi.
and Seth is from Connecticut. How is chefing, Seth, the chef? So glad that he finds us today. He says thank you. How is the chef life? He says it's his honor. We are so appreciative of having you guys. If you've missed us anytime, he says it's beautiful. We love to hear it. Love to hear it. We hope that you are safe, sound, and happy. And we wish the same for your families. He says it's phenomenal. Sounds like you really love that. I'm so happy because that makes us inspired. Trish, do you cook?
Yes, I do. I can.
What's your best dish?
I cook stewed chicken with white rice and string beans. That's my best one.
Okay. Seth says, it's my heartbeat to life. I love that. And ladies and gentlemen, do what you love. Do what you love. Seth, you are the example for that. And I know how to cook, but I don't love cooking. I will try new things. But since my kids are older, I don't really do a lot of cooking. But I do enough to get by. I know how to cook though. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, even if you come in for a little while. We realize life is busy. We're going to talk about self-doubt today. How many of you doubt yourself or have doubted others?
I have.
Yeah. I have doubted others more than I've doubted myself. You're so very welcome, Seth. We're going to face our challenges today because we realize that there's so many out there that doubt themselves. We're still running at Vibe Talk. Vibe Talk is all about facing your challenges, being motivated to do so. And while you're doing so and you're on the journey, inspiring you to keep positive. Met a gentleman the other day that was very positive. He says he's gonna be right back. He'll return. Okay, Seth. Glad to have you with us on this finally Friday. And so, as we are challenged to do that, did you doubt yourself anytime this week? That question.
I have.
Did you doubt yourself? What did you doubt yourself about this week, and how did it turn out for you?
So this week, I was battling confidence and self-doubt because I just think I thought that I didn't have my gift anymore. I thought my talent was gone with music. So I've been battling that, but the outcome was I actually decided, you know what? Let me just try. And I finally finished a song, and it turned out great. I'm proud of myself. It turned out great, and that self-doubt, it just went away when I just but it was hard to battle it though. I've been going through that for a good month.
Okay. So we know from that, how are you doing with that this week though? Is it still there, or what do you think?
I think most of it is gone, but a part of it is still there.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, I believe that I can work through it.
See, being honest with our feelings, and that's what we're promoting here. Doubting ourselves today. When we face the lions, it is so important to face our truth. So when you doubt something, what are you saying? What you're actually saying is you have a lack of faith in yourself. Uncertainties within yourself. In other words, you're not sure. And believe me, when you're not sure of something, you are afraid to take risk. Because what word would you say comes up? You're afraid. That's a word that creates in you something. What is it, Trish? Do you know? fear. Fear. You know how we talk about facing the lions and how many of you say, I'm afraid? Because you literally are afraid. I'm afraid of a big old lion. I'm afraid of its roar. But I ask you to stand up against self-doubt. Because it creates the opposite when you self-doubt yourself. Chef Seth is with us here on Spoons. Good morning, Seth. Good morning, good morning. We're always here, and we're so happy. We want, if you want to use those phone lines, and we are asking the question, Seth, do you ever feel like you're afraid or doubt yourself, I should ask? Have you ever doubted yourself or doubted someone else? What do you think about that? We're going to be talking about facing challenges of self-doubt. And we're going to stand up against that challenge today. What does Seth say, Trish?
He says, I used to doubt myself in the past.
Yeah. So what changed that? Seth, what do you think changed that? He says, what's past love and working? So when you doubt yourself and you have a lack of confidence or feel like you are incapable of doing something, Trish, you gave a really nice example of that, like you were saying about your music, feeling like you doubt it yourself. Now, uncertainty, being unsure about yourself or your actions to do something, we all have that at one time or another. But it can be debilitating. How so? Because it makes us feel like we can't control our lives. So how do we get to overcome these lions? Because sometimes these lions of doubt cripple us with uncertainty. So how do we get to overcome it? Because you know we do get to overcome it. We're going to talk about that today. What do you think it takes, guys, to overcome doubt? What do you think?
I think what it takes to overcome doubt is do like the affirmations you have in your brain to like change it. Instead of saying, I don't think I can do it, just say like, I know I can do it. I can do it, you know. Because the doubt gets worse when you start believing that doubt and you start feeding it with, you're right, I'm not sure if I can do it or I can't do it. And then it just gets worse. So you have to do the opposite of negativity.
Absolutely, that's one way. Thank you so much for that. So, let's think about this. You're assigned something, or maybe you have a project. But now you have that project and you want to work on it, but you at one point start to panic. Because you see your projects, you're going to show it to someone. And so you panic. And running through your mind is, did I do a great job? Or I hope they will like it. Now, Trish, you're writing your music. Have you ever felt that way? And Seth, you cook meals for everyone. Have you ever said to yourself, I hope they like it. I hope that I did a great job with this dish. Or Trish, have you ever said, I hope people will like my music?
I have, and it's like and then when I say that, I'm embarrassed, but when I say that, I go back and redo everything, I change everything, and then I do that a good 5 times, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Seth says he does it all the time. Now, Seth, the dishes that you make, you've probably done a repeat of them. I'm speculating, but I want you to tell me. When you make a dish and you find out that people really like that dish, how many times have you redone that dish because somebody is asking or saying they want that dish? Numerous times. He says he has to tweak and change the flavors. Yeah. See, my love is not only Vibe Talk. Top 10 we are, ladies and gentlemen. I do Vibe Talk. I'm never nervous about Vibe Talk because I know that I'm going to touch on the heels and the hearts of people. And it's so necessary. But I'll tell you what I'm nervous about. I am a photographer, professionally. And every time I go to a shoot of some kind of wedding, self-portraits, babies, whatever it is, I lay out all my pictures. At first I look at them and I self-doubt sometimes because I'm always saying, that one doesn't look right. Even when I go through all the editing processes. And sure enough, to my surprise, people love it. Because I do what is called a photo showing. That's when all the photos are done and you get to look at it and to see the excitement on people's faces. Because I'm panicking. I have a 2-week turnaround for you to get your pictures back. And they're going to bring their loved ones to look at those pictures. And when they love the pictures, just like when people love your music, and Seth, just like when people love your dishes, your recipes, you start to feel great because you have panicked and worried. You panicked and worried, so now you shift in what you thought was going to be a disaster. You shift. So when we doubt ourselves, we lack confidence in ourselves. He says, if you know me, you know how I would cook. If not, you want something different. Yeah. We are all good at something. Each and every one of us was born and created with a talent. Each and every one of us. We've been given that. That is what our Creator has done for us. We were born with those talents. And so when we doubt ourselves, we want to think about how to make ourselves more trustworthy. Inner self. So we're talking about overcoming it. Because you say, I have this lion, and this lion is so big, and I cower to this lion of self-doubt. So today we're going to talk about some things that help us. If you're lacking self-doubt, it can hugely, lion-like, affect your life in a very negative way. So, we've talked about the project and the panic, but now we're going to move on and talk about the cause of self-doubt. What do you guys think are some causes of self-doubt? As we open our discussion, there you go. Seth, welcome in. Good morning, Seth. Good morning.
Today.
How are you from Connecticut, Seth?
How are we doing today? Good.
We are all great. Trish, how about you? Trish is my co-host. Trish?
Hi, Sid.
Nice to meet you, Trish. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning, Ray. Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, what were you just talking about? What's the cause of self-doubt?
Self-doubt, yeah.
Yeah, me and I just turned 32 last month. I just feel like most of my days, I feel like, you feel like you're going to live longer. You feel like, you're not going to live longer. And I just try to focus my life on just like getting the positive, the goals that I want to get done before, you want to say you kicked the bucket too early and did nothing that you don't want to do. That's like usually one of my doubts. Like, I'm not going to accomplish everything before I get called home, or, the situation is like, you work every day, provide for your needs and your demands and expectations and standards of certain people in life, through a different eye, or, looking outside of the box, from a whole crowd of a world that you live in. Like, you're on this side of the spectrum or you're on this side of the field. And then what weighs out your good and bad is how people will determine how you help them,
Right.
Even if you still say no to them, it's like, I say no to a lot of people because I know at the end of the day, if I could do this, if I could do something to better myself, I should be an image copy of how you could do something better for yourself.
Absolutely. And past experiences really we have in our lives that have influenced us in self-doubt. Would you say that's Seth? Past experiences? Interest? What do you think about that?
Oh yes, definitely. I think past experiences, just like moving wise, like when I used to be little, I used to feel like moving is gonna mess up my whole life. And growing up and having friends or like being around certain family, me not having a father figure in my life. I used to move around a lot with my mom, from shelters, like condos, buildings, this place, that place, crazy, dirty hole, 4 buildings. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, that has to. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I experienced living in places that were phenomenal, lived in a condominium, stayed on a beach, and it wasn't all that extravagant, but I appreciate that I was there for a moment, and it was that could change from you living in a hole of wall to a private location where it's just, it's a whole experience where you find out how it is.
Yeah. Our experiences bring impact to our lives, whether it's a positive one or a negative one. Past experiences, they could be experiences from childhood experiences, from abusive relationships, and, our mental health can take a huge hit. All of that's part of how we grow mentally, cognitively, and emotionally. All those past experiences play a part in you and I feeling self-doubt. Trish, what do you think?
I think that's true because me personally, my past experience with like being bullied and things like that, like that's why I'm so how do I say it? That's how I overthink a lot when I talk to people and when I'm around people, like it's like hard for me to get to know other people because I'm like, well, they didn't try to get to know me back then, like before, so I just automatically think the worst because of my past experience with other people.
And so your past experience, good morning, Ray. We're talking about self-doubt. Ray is all the way from South Carolina. We have with us today Seth, who's on the line talking with us, interacting. Past experience that creates self-doubt can indeed shake up what we believe. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about yourself, Seth? And Ray and Trish, what do you believe about yourself?
I believe about myself, I believe that I try to be a good person, and I feel like I'm an okay person. I'm not perfect, but I do try. And I also believe, appearance-wise, like it took me a while to believe it, but I think that I am beautiful inside and out. That's what I believe. Okay. It took me a while to believe those things, but, I'm on the journey.
Love it. Love it. What about yourself, Seth? What do you believe about yourself?
Yeah, so what I you gave me. So what I believe about myself is I feel like even if somebody expects something from me, I'm gonna go all out and do 110% for them. And I know they're gonna reciprocate that same sympathy and love back to me in the long run. So I don't want to like say I have care about somebody or I have love them. I want to fully give myself to somebody to be like, all right, cool. I got your back for this situation or that. You got a shoulder to lean on. Because at the end of the night, I'm just all the way. And I feel like that's the best thing I give for a quality trait for a person. To have her as a best friend.
And being that to yourself, do you think being that to yourself is important? Your best friend and giving yourself that 100.
Because it's making me say even though at the end of the night, I never had brothers and sisters in my whole life when I was growing up until I met my father for the first time 25 years, 4 years ago. And we ended up showing a patch in our relationship, and that I broadened my horizon. I'm all right, cool. Well, even though I had brothers or sisters or a father figure in my life, I had just cousins, and then I was all right, cool. It's something inside me that was even though nobody else is acknowledging you in this world, you're still visible anyway.
Love it.
Your heart, your heart and mind, it matters for a reason. If nobody doesn't acknowledge you at that moment, there's a reason why you're still walking in the face of this earth, and there's a purpose for that. So I just put myself all right, cool. just like it's. I want to say I put my guard up. I just put I put my hopes up to where it's like be noticed or not noticed. You know?
Mm-hmm. So, being an only child, did you do that for yourself? Because that's important. Or were you taught that by the other parent, which would be your mom or guardian? Did you do that for yourself to teach yourself?
I pretty much self-taught myself that because I had to go to school. My mom would leave me here. I'd have to go. I don't have to wait at the neighbors. I'll have different people bring me to school, drop me off to school. You know, I had certain friends in school. But it was you go home, but you ain't got nobody really talk to or really explain what you're really thinking as a kid. You know, not like that bad or good. It's just some things you want to have simple conversations about. You know, we're the best friend, the father figure, more like a role model figure. Mom just getting off work and she just angry at the world and it's this and that. You know? So you just build yourself a self-care party on the inside and make you feel all right, cool.
And look what you turned out to be, a whole chef. Imagine that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with online today. You want to get online, get here. You can be online with the rest of us. Past experiences, we can learn from them. But if we continue to go back to the past, what can we bring to our present state of being? When you go back to the past and you think about that self-doubt, it's a waste of time for your future. Oh yeah, some of us struggle. But now I want today to be a different kind of day since it's already Friday, and when you came in Monday or you got up Monday morning, maybe you didn't have the strength to make it. Maybe you were doubting something. Maybe you doubted someone. But now I want you to replan how you want to be more sure of yourself and your life. We go back to childhood quite often here. And why do you think childhood is a good place to start? Trish?
Because it's the beginning of how you think now. Because the childhood plays a big part. Because people may say it's just a memory, but your childhood is grooming you into the person that you're supposed to be. So the childhood is very important because it's the beginning of your mindset. It's the beginning.
Ray, what do you think about it? And Seth, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think childhood affects how we live and think now? Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, I mean that's the key component and foundation in everybody's life. Everybody has a memory block that reflects on that they live in today. So it's a part of your sixth sense. If you wake up and you see the sunshine, you can remember 2 or 3 years from now, back in the day when the sunshine was and stuff. And some stuff is you have past traumatizations, PTSD, broken heart syndrome situations, and past death. So childhood memories a key foundation to almost everything. My mom in her 50s, she still reminisces off her own past childhood stuff, always related to modern day life. It's crazy.
And just so that you guys know, what I have on this main platform is about childhood. That's been up for so many weeks now because that's the founding where we form and shape our habits and personalities. Now, when you are raised, you're raised by parents. And whatever your parents told you has been molded into you. We are talking about the book, Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And that book has helped us to understand that at the moment of conception, we are developing feelings, okay? And every child feels something. Every child feels something. So Ray, I'm going to read his thought here. And I want to thank you guys for joining this live. Ray says that certain experience from your youth does affect who you become and grow as a person. Like, let's say, he says, I experienced a lot of bullying as a kid. That could affect your self-esteem as a young adult or full-grown adult. So true, so true. Now, however your parents have raised you, let's say you were raised not good enough, or maybe your environment of the school that you went to judged you by your grades, your academic levels of success or lack of. You have already internalized the questioning of yourself. Thank you for that. The book that I'm referring to is Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. It is on Facebook. Trish, if you can put that link there for us. So internalizing, questioning yourself. How many of you have ever questioned yourself?
I have.
You have? Ray, what about you and Seth? Have you ever?
Don't play it. I ask questions without asking a question. I'm just like, ooh.
Say that again, Seth. I'm sorry.
It's a kitchen phrase is you ask a question without asking a question. If you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, you ask a question without asking a question. Yeah. So, how many of you compare yourself to other people? And Ray says most definitely he questions himself. I've questioned myself. Now, how many of you have compared yourself or something that you've done to that of another person?
I have.
Seth, what about you?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember something that it was? Something that you compared yourself to? Ray says, yep, he did that too. Do you remember what it was that you compared yourself with?
I remember mine. I was comparing my eyes to stable eyes, I would say. I was comparing myself to those.
Your physical eye, you mean? Is that,
Yes.
okay. And so we learned from, what did we learn from that? Did you learn anything from doing that?
I didn't learn anything because I can't help what I was born with.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't learn anything.
So what could you take away from that? I think you just said it, but let's restate that for the people that are facing any kind of, whether it's birth challenges, whatever you're facing. What did you take away from that, Trish?
That I was born with that and I can't change it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point right there. Ray says, my looks to that of my friends. I have compared myself in, I remember when I first started doing photography for a business, for work, and my son asked me a question, and he says, Mom, this is my older son. He said, what kind of photographer do you want to be? I mean, this is a wise guy here. And he said, there are many photographers out there, and each photographer has an art. So you can't compare yourself. My younger one said this. You cannot compare yourself to that artist because all photography's arts are different. Because I used to, before I started my company, I used to always doubt myself. I knew I wanted to do it, but I would see someone else's and I would say, look at how they're shooting their pictures. And it was that one thing that my youngest son said. You can't compare yourself because that's their art. So we've all done it. We've all done it. We want you to realize the normalization of internalizing. We think it's normal to internalize. We've learned it to be normal, but after this podcast today, you're going to think about this. So, when we compare to others, okay, we began to compete. Every show that is a reality show is all about competition. Ray, you probably can identify with Hell's Kitchen. Ramsay gets in there and he starts making you cook under pressure, and everybody's cooking what he's asking them to cook, and they get down to the clock wire. Everybody's competing. What are you competing for when you doubt yourself in this competitive world? What are you competing against? That's a rhetorical question, because each of us are different in our own ways. So when we compare too much with others and what they have and what we don't have, that's the start of losing myself. That's the start of losing yourself. How many of you have had a new challenge this week or in the past? New challenges. Anybody? Anybody had a new challenge? Have you ever had a new challenge?
I have.
What was that new challenge?
That new challenge was basically learning to get used to having the jaw brace in my mouth while having my braces on when I have my jaw surgery.
New challenge. There you go. What about you, Seth? New challenge in your life? You ever had that? Ray? Same question.
Yeah, I got so me being currently in culinary school, going up until I'm in culinary school for 18 months, so I'm in my 16th month period right now.
Yay! Yay! Congratulations.
I'm doing a culinary online remote learning. That's at Schofield out of Boulder, Colorado. So me
Oh.
being cooking all my life is just like I work two jobs. One is I work at dish pit, and one is I'm the head chef
Love it.
in one local neighborhood um, restaurant bar. It's a small bar, but it's like it has a little nice kitchen. So I work there only one day a week and still work at dish pit. With me being in culinary school, I have to come up with a whole menu design. I have to come up with a whole new food design. So my idea is like almost pretty much every day I'm coming up with something new, waking up. Like I always take I don't go to sleep until I don't take down every information out of my brain and put it on a piece of paper. Because my mind is so packed with so much ideas, I can't really rest my own body until I figure out how to execute my assignment. So my assignment for this week is my final plating before I go on spring break. And it's only 4 items of meat, a starch, a vegetable, and sauce. So I already figured, and then my school ended up sending me this 5-herb packet with different leaves that I have to incorporate in my dish. So I currently have my pork tenderloin soaking in buttermilk at my house while I'm at my friend's house clearing my head. So it was my day off, but now it's my day on back to work. So I'm just up trying to figure out what I gotta get organized, checklists, and this and that, talking to my chefs and everybody. So I'm just delegating what I gotta do next. And yeah,
We love it.
approach. Yeah.
We love it. Because, when I asked that question, I like cooking shows, and there are so many challenges, and I'm so glad that you shared that life and in the surgeries. Trish, you know that I know about that. I've been through tons of surgery. Ray says challenge of driver's license. Ray, what about that driver's license? Are you getting it? You got it? What's going on with that? I'll tell you my challenges. One of my challenges was to have a podcast because, like I told you guys, most of you know that it wasn't my idea to do a podcast. But when I found out the power of the podcast, it was a challenge for me. And every day is a challenge for me. And so with that, I welcome the challenge of that lion. Because it isn't that I doubt myself, but it's a new challenge every day because we're going to get something new every day in Vibe Talk. And Ray says about the driver's license, getting it is the challenge. And we do have much faith in you, Ray, to get that. So we face challenges every day. But now when we have no experience in it, we think about the things we need to do. Doing something new is always uncomfortable. And we're going back to our childhood experience. How many of you remember the first day of school? Anybody? Let's go back to our childhood.
What stage is first day of school?
Huh?
I said, what stage is the first day of school?
First day of school.
Kindergarten, high school.
Whatever was your first day of school.
Out.
Because the
felt like I was being listening to an army.
So first day of school.
I mean, well, my first day of school was always energizing. Waking up with it was like a fresh new life. From elementary, from every grade. Because I moved from I moved from 2 different towns. When I was when I was 9, going into teenage years. So different schooling was different. I lived in a whole different rural area from school. So them schools was you walk down the hall, you don't know if you're gonna get bullied or somebody gonna jump you or because most of your classroom was around the corner, and then you have other classrooms for other students that was in the same hallway. Some people had a whole different mindset back in the day. So like in the 90s, like me, like I'm a 90s person, so them times were like, it was okay, it was all cool, but like, you know, people will do dirt to you and not.
And how did that make you feel, those feelings? That right there.
I mean, I would have to sit in, I was like, every time I get into a fight, I would have to be sitting off because it was like, I'm defending myself. This person tried to jump me or fight me because I was like trying to get a drink of water or whatever.
So did you look forward to that?
You know.
Did you look forward to that?
No, not at all.
Okay. Okay, so now, Ray says it was scary and nervous. We're talking about the first day of school. You know, you're going to, and that was a good question, Seth. Thank you for sharing that with us, because really when we think about it, the question that I was going to ask, the secondary question was, how did you feel on the first day of school? And did you ever feel uncomfortable? Because, you know, for me to change classes the first time, you know, you go to school, you get acclimated to your classroom. I'm talking about very young. And then the whole year goes by, the teacher that you thought you hated, you love her, or you loved him. And then June comes, September comes, and you're going into a whole new classroom. Very uncomfortable. And we repeat those cycles, guys. So we doubt ourselves. Because sometimes we didn't have our friends moving to the same classroom. Or sometimes, like Seth said, he moved around a lot. You didn't know anybody. Very uncomfortable. How many of you can relate to that? Anybody in here?
I can.
First day on a new job. First day on a new job.
So first day on a new job, that was pretty. My first job, I was in a summer school program. So the community neighborhood that I lived in, they set up a little youth summer program for kids that after you get out of school, you set you up with a summer program. So my program, they assigned to certain places. Some people worked at a library, like public libraries. Some worked in churches. Some worked in hospitals. Yeah. I ended up working in an elementary school, cleaning it up, and I ended up working in I ended up working in the high school, cleaning that up too. Mm-hmm. So it was a group of us, so we had to get to the job site early. Mm-hmm. And then we had the person head of the facility to show us around. He was like, this is what we're doing. We're going to put these tables and desks out. We're going to mop and sweep, put them back in. Or they would leave them out because they would have to do a polish for that. But we didn't do that. We usually just mop and sweep and put all the tables out in the hallway. And then...
Yeah. First day on the job.
I had a decent paycheck, $200 paycheck. It was like, okay. Because, it gets tired because you're doing it for the summertime.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
You can't really have a break, but it's like you're kind of like hanging out on a job site, but it's like, okay, wait for your next task to set up for, we got to freaking clean this whole hallway wall. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So you have to get acclimated to these new challenges. Facing your lions, Ray, about the question about first job, he says he can relate to that. So, moving on, we're thinking about fear of failure, fear of success. Which one did you feel more of? Seth, Trish, and Ray. Fear of failure or fear of success?
I'd say fear of failure for me.
Mm-hmm. You want to tell us about that? Because I think everybody can relate to that.
Because The thought of failure makes me uncomfortable. Like, I don't like being uncomfortable because I'm very emotional when I'm uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, feeling of failure just makes me, like, shut down. It just makes me think, wow, I tried my best and I still failed. Like, that's my mindset. Like, I'm very hard on myself, so when I'm scared to fail because I know when I'm in that state, like, I don't want to try again. Like, I just give up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about you, Seth? Fear of failure or fear of success? And Ray, you can answer that as well, and I'll read yours.
I mean, I would have to say both fear of failure and success. Because, I mean, to me, like, I feel like sometimes if you know you're going to succeed in doing what you want to do and execute it to the fullest to your ability, it's still not going to exceed any expectations probably like years from now. Because you can reinvent it and make it like 20 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's only going to take one opportunity for somebody to actually notice it and really like, all right, cool. This is your golden ticket out of to whatever you need to get to. You know, so me being in culinary school and like jumping from different like job sites, like networking with different people and having different relationships and connections, it's like, you know, if you can't really set yourself up for failure
Mm-hmm.
or something,
Mm-hmm.
but you can aim for like being stable to where you shouldn't have to be less failure and then still succeed but still be successful within it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying it's not bad, but you still outweighing the quality of life.
I like what I'm taking away from your comment. I love the way that you talked about reinventing yourself. And I want to stick with that for a moment for those of you who will be coming to hear this podcast. You can always make the choice to reinvent yourself. Some of the most famous toys have been made because of failure. I just learned one about yesterday. You know the simple, popular Play-Doh? Play-Doh was a mistake. When the makers of that was making it, they were making it for the wallpaper. It was going to be used on the walls. Look at the success of something that we might think, or they thought, was failure. Somebody didn't think it was failure because my grandson has a whole tub of it. Play-Doh. Many inventions, many reinventing has become very successful. I'm going to tell you about one by the author Elizabeth Gilbert. Elizabeth Gilbert. Anybody know Elizabeth Gilbert? You heard of Elizabeth Gilbert, anyone? If you haven't, just tell me no.
No.
Okay. But now, how many of you have heard of the movie Eat, Pray, Love? Anybody heard of that movie?
It sounds familiar.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you after I read Ray's comment. Ray says, failure is something he said he hasn't heard of. Stick with that thought because I don't want to miss anybody. You're all important. Ray says, failure is something I'll admit frustrates me. But even when I fail, I push myself back and push. I cannot see myself harder because I don't like to lose. See, I'm determined. I'm just determined. I believe in the try again. So now Elizabeth Gilbert is the author of that book, and Julia Roberts played her in the movie Eat, Pray, Love. That book sold 10 million copies around the world. Now she's a writer of another book, Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. Now she says that success was her biggest nightmare, because she says she wasn't sure that she would replicate that 10 million sold before. Now a movie has been made, and that movie, Julia Roberts, anybody heard of her? Julia Roberts, the actress, Julia Roberts.
Yeah, she's a familiar.
Yeah. Now, think about this. When you have done something and you were good at it, Safi, you're a chef. Do you remember your first time making a dish?
So hard. So that's a deep memory profile. I have to dig in. I don't know because okay. So what was the question again?
Do you remember your first time making a dish?
Okay, so I have a story that goes off with that.
Sure.
So me and my mom, we like lived from different houses at the time, me being young. So in the process, we had a spice cabinet, and I used to just play with the sugar because it was near the house, and I'm like, let me just eat sugar for the heck of it. But then I ended up like taking spices out of the cabinet and started just mixing them all together. And my mom was like, I didn't end up cooking, but she ended up making some breakfast egg thing one morning. And she ended up shaking one of the seasonings onto the eggs. And it was like a herb. I can remember from my memory, it was like some herbs and like salt and pepper type of seasoning. I was like mixing crazy stuff in my mom's cabinet for no reason. I don't know why. But I was just enjoying the heck of it because it was like, all right, it's right there. I ain't got nothing to do. I'm home alone, just playing around in the kitchen, and almost caught the house on fire one time, but I saved it. So
I'm so glad.
Yeah. So the most thing, I always make eggs a lot. The first thing always a little bit like egg, like a basic egg omelet. I made everything from a sunny side up egg to like a hard fried egg, 4 eggs. So.
Is that I don't know how to say that. Is it Higerogu? Good morning and welcome. And so with that, while you were mixing in the kitchen your mom's spices, today that's commonly known as a rub, right? When you mix.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you were inventing.
You call it in-house seasoning, and you got like in-house rub.
Yeah.
I was mixing in-house seasonings for no reason, I guess.
Yeah, that's okay though. That's okay though. So, how do we overcome the challenges of facing our lions to overcome this powerful thing of self-doubt? Well, there's a thing that we say in Vibe Talk. Stop doing that. And you say, stop doing what? And I say, stop doing that. Stop self-doubting yourself. Because you have to stop doing the negative tone. Can you hear it? Pull up your chair. Turn up your volume a little bit more. I'm not good enough. I don't think I can do it. Whatever I do, I'm going to fail, so I won't try it. Do you hear the tones that you tell your internal voice, your soul of your mirror, which is your what? Your inner mirror. You talking to you. Stop doing that. Whenever you're feeling positive, stick with that because the positive is higher energy. The negative takes all your energy just like dust to the wind. When you are feeling unsure of yourself, I want you to list what you can do, what you have a chance to do, and what you will do. We talked about U-jars in here. I don't know if you all are still working with U-jars. U-jars are reminders of yourself each day, even on your low day. You can do it. Get things that make you smile, whatever it is. Photos, artwork, music. And also it talks about healthy snacks that you can do. In fact, I've done that. I've got a jar of peanuts and pretzels to boost my energy, and when I feed myself those things, it helps me to think more positively. Some people like to eat their way through their problems. I'm just asking you to think about your energy. Sometimes we have to take a break. In Vibe Talk, because Vibe Talk runs every day of the week, there are needed breaks that both myself and my co-host Trish need. And so we're going to always provide for you guys a pre-recorded Vibe Talk. Sometimes we just need to take a moment to relax, to be able to shift our focus. When you do this, you are clearing out your mind, and you are looking, after you have cleared your mind, for a new, fresh way to see things. Making a list, we're doing that because every morning we ask what question, Trish? What question do we ask at the opening of the podcast?
What are you thankful for and why?
Yeah, what are we thankful for and why? Why do you guys suppose we ask that question? Trish, why do we ask that question?
We asked that question because there's always something to be thankful for and grateful for. Mm-hmm. In all the negativity, there's always positivity. You might be having a bad day, mm-hmm. but if you look around you, you might see something beautiful, and that's something to be grateful for.
Yes. In fact, it has a lot of impact on your well-being because we've practiced it 365 days as opposed to the one day in November where everybody's going to sit down and have what they are thankful for. We've turned that into a thing. In Vibe Talk, we say, if you're having challenges and your challenges are just too much for you, ask for help. Don't doubt yourself. Ask for help. Why? Because you deserve the best. Help. H-E-L-P. You should have that written somewhere where you can see it. You know why? Because on the days that you need it, You need to recognize it and say it out loud. Help. A word that so many of us avoid. Help is important because when you get help, you're needing support. Whether you come in here and vibe talk because it's support, or whether you're seeing a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist, or you're going to group, or you're going to art classes, that is your support. Your support. Why? Because you're getting reassurance that you can improve your self-confidence and you can be motivated. How many of you, because you've been in here, have improved in your self-confidence, even if it's just a little? Anybody?
I have.
So Trish, and what's that been like for you, Trish?
It's been a journey. It's been work, but it's been worth it. It's it changed my mindset because, oh my goodness, my mindset before was very dark, and now I just think more positive, more.
Yeah. And so, when you change your mindset on something and shift your environment, you see the possibilities within yourself. Going back to what we're thankful for, don't you start to appreciate yourself more and focus on what you have versus what you don't have? And when you have stopped comparing yourself, you're a reminder of happiness within you, within your life. And so we ask of you to think about those things. When you write the word help, on those days, write it. Get yourself a little board. Sometimes we have those little boards that you pin photos on, and pin it up there, and it's okay to read that word out loud because it's a sense of emotion. Help. When I've had an accident and I fall, or I have fallen, literally, or hurt myself, I ask for help. Ask for help, guys. Think about this, the steps that you can take from now until next week, now until next Friday. We can all do this. No matter what we're overcoming, what we're challenging, we can make a recognition of ourselves by writing it down. No matter how small that challenge is, from the smallest to the greatest, and start working on ourselves. I want you to know the commonality all of you have shared. You've all shared commonality. Every last one of you. Commonality that you have doubted yourself. Uncomfortable ways. When I ask you the question about the first day of school, you got it. We talked about panicking. We've all felt unsure, fear. We've all felt doubt that stems. Doubt is the root of fear, uncomfortability, unsure, panic, self-doubt. I want you to know that is normal. But now I want you to realize that you don't have to be there. I think it was it was Seth. Seth said, reinventing. Trish said, change. And Ray said, work harder. Look at how you all came up with a resolute to one of the most common feelings. Stand up against your lions. You can improve yourself, reinventing yourself. You can discover yourself by recognizing your abilities. You can trust yourself, and you can believe to achieve. Each and every one of you. We are live on Facebook. We are here every day. Today is finally Friday. We touch on all areas. Self-doubt. I think it's good to say, or it surmises, that every last person living on the earth has at some time had self-doubt. Self-doubt. We've learned today where it begins. We've learned what it is. We need to understand that we don't have to choose to be stuck. What do you all think? Trish, Ray, and Seth.
I think that is very true, that we don't have to be stuck there. Like we've talked about, looking back in the past is like a waste of time, because you can't change it, but you can change who you are now because it's the present. If you're doubting now, you can change that. And if you doubted back then, you can't change that. But now you can change it, because you have a life ahead of you, and you can choose to live in positivity and not live in negativity.
Ray says, don't look at the past, focus on the present. Seth, what do you want to say? We're going to make sure we get your comments in there too. You still there, Seth?
Oh shit. Yeah, I'm here with you.
What do you want to say?
Live for today, plan for tomorrow. I usually say sometimes. I usually like plan for tomorrow, because sometimes tomorrow's not promised.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as you wake up in good grace, you should be good.
I love it. There's a poem about self-doubt. I'm going to read it. It says, myself. There are pieces of me that get lost sometimes. Even when the lights are on, I wander through myself. Insecurities have always eaten me up this way. I try to fight back with the only weapon I have, but I always open my mouth and choke the words back in. If only I had a big enough heart to hold it all before I crashed down into myself for the last time. The darkness of my self-doubt would be nice to bury forever, to know that someday a brand new confidence will grow inside me. If only I would change my fear that it never will. I would. That is our poem for today. Trish, will you take us out of here with the question of the day? Our ending question.
Our ending question is, what have you learned about yourself or discovered about yourself today? And what was your experience like here today?
I want to start with Ray. First, I want to congratulate Ray on his culinary school and that journey. And second, I want to congratulate, I'm sorry, Seth. Did I say Ray? I meant Seth. And Seth, might I add how proud I am of you because you've come in our virtual room. But now you've shifted and you have come on the line. We want people to do exactly what you're doing. Thank you so much for your input. Your voice means that you have something to say, and we're so proud of you for doing that. Trish, did you want to say something to him as well?
I just want to say, congratulations on being in school for, I think you said 16 or 18 months. Good job. So proud of you. And I really enjoyed your input on things. And like, you're very wise. Like, I enjoyed it a lot. And I hope you come again.
Yeah, because he comes on and comes into the room from time to time, but I'm so glad that he mustered up courage, because that's part of facing the lion too. You just never know what we're discussing, but I want you to know that your voice has meaning and impact. Today, you're going to help someone help themselves by adding to the conversation. And that's what we do here. That's why it's called interactive. Ray, we appreciate always your input. Always. So have you guys faced your lions? Because I know for me, being here was a good experience. I really am going to leave with the reinvention. Instead of self-doubting myself, I'm going to think about how many mistakes were made while people created stuff. And they didn't take failure and that was it. They retried, remastered, reinvented. And that's why things have become so popular. But I'm going to keep in mind and allow myself that of making what is called a mistake. Because when I make the mistake, I can do something. I can learn from them. I can improve from them. So I'm going to take that away today. My experience here was exhilarating. Trish, what about you? And Ray and Seth, we're going to ask you the same question.
Today, I learned that what I learned today was don't let fear of failure stop me from trying again and continuing on. And if I fail, all I have to do is get back up, be more positive, and work harder. And my experience today was happy. I was very happy today because, it has so much interaction, and it was a great discussion today. I needed this. When I saw the title this morning, I was like, oh, see, this is talking to me. So, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to have podcasts sometimes that's going to deal directly with us. I go through it too, the gut punching. And now I'm going to ask Ray. Ray, yes. Seth will be right back. Empty space, good morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome. Ray, what did you take away and discover about yourself today, if you're still here? What did you take away? See, we have these discussions, ladies and gentlemen, because we know that they're impactful. Our Facing the Lions is all about challenge. And as we challenge this or that, the question is, did you get through it? Were you able to come through it, or did you allow fear to overcome you? Because nothing is easy when facing our fear. I want to just say that self-doubt is deeply rooted in fear. Self-doubt. And fear is deeply rooted in self-doubt. So, Seth, the question to you is, what is your takeaway from today? And did you discover anything about yourself as you contributed so much to our conversation on self-doubt today? Thank you so much.
Yeah, just bring back old memories from like my past. It was like, every day I always try to like reorganize certain stuff that might have been broken or like been able to piece together, or something I can always utilize to my best ability in the long run. Future-wise, not just from the past, because self-doubt still can carry on the past and in the future. It depends on how you carry that curse. It's like a curse, and it's just a feeling. So sometimes you gotta control how you let that cloud hang over your head at the end of the night. Because you have the power to do whatever you need to do to get through whatever you need to do. Because the word is help. It's out there. So I always let people know, like, you always got a shoulder to cry on, or somebody to talk to if you need a friend. And reread myself, I learned keep myself be humble, and like always give people some extra support as they need it.
We thank you so much, because when we get people to interact, you not only help yourself by the things you learn, but we learn from each other. All of us in here. Did you want to say something else, Ray? Seth, did you want to?
No, that's I say thank you for letting me be on your podcast.
Oh man, you're so welcome.
An honor, privilege, and nice to meet you, Trish, and everybody.
You're so welcome.
Appreciate it so much.
Yeah, always. We are a free podcast. We have reached worlds around us. And as Seth is with us, Trish, can you tell us what states were in here today?
Today we had South Carolina, Connecticut, and Palmdale, California.
Yeah. And we're going to hashtag your communities, because everyone should be able to express themselves. Before you go, Seth, because you've contributed so much today, is there anybody that you want to give a special shout out to, or anybody that you want to thank today? We're waiting for him to cue in, because if there he is, We always want you to do that. I'm so thankful for you. So thankful for you, Trish. It's been a wonderful week. I want everybody to have an inspiring weekend. Be the best at who you are. Who do you want to give a shout out to? He says yes, because we want to do that for him. We want to do that for him. And you're going to be able to, Seth, you're going to be able to hear yourself, because this podcast will be going up as soon as we end the podcast. Who would you like to give a shout out to or say thank you to? You said thank you to us, and we oblige and are very thankful for you. This week, oh, here he is. There you go, Seth. I'm so sorry, because I know. There you go, Seth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Big shout outs to you, to your people on this live podcast, for one and foremost.
Thank you.
And thank you for creating this podcast, because, I don't follow a lot of podcasts. There's only like at least 5 I can count on my hand that I will follow faithfully, and like you're one of them that I follow because I wake up in the morning and watch this one.
Love it.
If I pop out and pop in, I usually just like waking up, let's look at my phone, hit buttons, and lay back down, just hear it. So, first and foremost, I give praise and homage to the man upstairs for blessing me with cooking and music and networking with people, and my mom, my family, people near and far that's probably hearing this. My chefs, my teachers, my work people, anybody that loves food and loves to hang out and enjoy, this is for y'all. Anybody just like to live life to the fullest.
I love it. Didn't we learn a lot from him today, Trish? You there? Co-host?
Yes, we learned a lot from him.
Yeah, we really did. We want to thank you sincerely. We want to thank you sincerely from the bottom of our hearts. And so as we leave today, I would like to say, everyone, face your lions, get courage, stop self-doubting yourself, stand tall, and face your lion. Thank you, everybody, for being with us, and we're going to close out with one of Trish's outros. Have a great weekend, everybody, and thanks for hanging out with us all week. We certainly have enjoyed you. We're coming to you. I should have already had this up. Let's see. There we are. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. In case you've missed the podcast, it will be in its entirety, and you can join in at the pre-records. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. I wish you more to face your lions.